Hi everybody, it's Kevin at Bear Creek. My apologies for not getting a video out recently in the last month or so. My commercial beekeeping duties have kept me away from my hobby beekeeping, and I have not been able to really tend to my bees, let alone do a video on it. Every day that I have had off on the weekend, which is usually just one day a week, it's been raining, and it just doesn't allow me any time to even get in my bees nor do a video. It's October 6th, 2019, Sunday. This is the one beautiful day that we've had in quite some time. So I'm taking this opportunity. I was over at my other apiary. I've got to prep for winter. And that means topping off, feeding. I've been feeding for a little bit here, but I haven't been able to get to this apiary here for the simple reason that it's 8 miles from my house, and I get off work, it's dark. I leave for work, it's dark. When I fed them here I was able to get out here on Thursday. They gave me a day off. It actually was raining, but I came out here to feed them anyways. These bees there were some of them that were starving. They were on the brink. And boy, when you sprinkled that sugar on them, even though it was cold as hell, that perked them right up. So I think I got there just in time, but they needed the feed, and I've come out today to feed again, to treat, oxalic treatment again. I'm going to be treating again next week as well. But today's video, what I really wanted to do, I've had a lot of questions on my inner covers, and I just want to do a really quick video on my inner covers that I've used for the last 3 years. I've gone away from the typical wooden inner cover, and I've gone with a flexible inner cover. And this isn't something that I invented. This is something that I actually picked up for me and Stepler up in Canada, and it works best for my apiary as far as the way I see it. This is the stuff that I use right here. It's called Reflectix. It's a sort of like a bubble wrap. It comes in rolls, which are actually ideal. They come in 16, 24, and 48 inch rolls. You can get them however length you want, 25, 50, or 100 feet. As it turns out, our Langstroth highs are 16 1/4 inches wide, which is perfect for a 16-inch roll. So all you have to do is roll this out, and since our Langstroths are roughly 20 7/8 or 21 inches, you can cut these at 21 inches. A 100-foot roll costs about $51. So you can get 50, obviously, inner covers, flexible inner covers, out of that 100-foot roll. So that comes out to about $2 a piece, I think, for this. Now, a couple of things for me, anyways, and the reason why I use it. And I just kind of wanted to run it down. I should have written this down, but I didn't write it down. It has an insulative value. It's reflective on both sides, so it reflects the sunlight in the summertime, and it also reflects the bees' heat back to them in the winter, and that's kind of important for me, and I like that. The next reason that I like it is, in my commercial job, we use solid wood lids. They're not really migratory lids. I guess they can say they're migratory lids, but they don't have the little flap that goes down. They don't have the little flap that goes down here that holds it in place. It's just a flat board. And when you lay that down, weather gets to it, these things tend to warp. Okay? They use my commercial, they use no inner covers. So as they warp, bees are able to come out and escape out of there, number one. Number two, the bees end up propolising or waxing the frames to the lid, and you end up having to pry your frames off of your lid, which is a big pain in the ass. And I honestly can't see that, or I can't stand when that happens, because you multiply that times 64 hives in an apiary, and you get really tired of prying frames up, pulling lids. So by having this flexible inner cover down, the bees will literally glue this lid, this flexible cover, down on your box. But the lid just sits on top and it won't stick to the inner cover. So you can just pop your lid off, and then what I'll show you here in a second, another advantage you have is during the honey season, and even now when every bee is looking for every last drop of honey, it absolutely stops robbing. If you have lids that are curled or crooked, bees will look for that advantage to get into and under these edges right here to try to get in and rob the crap out of a weaker hive. What this does, if they have glued this down, if the bees have glued this down, they literally can't get in to rob it. Even if, after you put your cover on, you have a little gap somewhere. So the bees literally can't rob into that, and that really helps you. Let's say you put clearing boards on. That's how you get your that's how you get the bees out of your honey supers to collect your honey in the fall. Well, if you have a gap here on the edge, if you have a gap here in the edge, and you got a clearing board with no bees to protect all that honey, bees from other hives will come in and rob the crap out of you. So having a nice seal on this it is imperative, actually. And the last reason, and I'll show you this here in a second, the reason is when I'm feeding my bees or just checking in on them, I actually can lift this cover off without creating a big crack and alerting the whole hive, or pissing them off, and then it doesn't send a shock wave through the hive and make the bees agitated at all. So I can actually literally take this lid off, and you can see I've got an inner cover on this hive right here, just to show you. And I didn't bring any smoke out with me today, so I'm gonna throw on my little lid just to protect my face. But if you just want to peek in on your bees, you can just grab the corners and just start peeling it back, just to peek in on your bees. And you don't have to pull the whole inner cover off to check on your bees. You can just pull a little section of it. So I find that very, very extremely useful. In checking on my bees. Here, I'll show you, right here. It doesn't send a shock wave through them. I've peeled them back. I didn't expose the entire hive. I've seen what I needed to see. Just peeked in real quick just to look. Honey, 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 honey. Let's see here. What is that? Is that honey? I want to check in on this real quick. There's honey there, so I'm good for honey on this hive pretty well. Bees are calm, they're not agitated, and I can put this back on. And actually I came out here today also to replace this lid. into a migratory type cover. But you can see, maybe I'll tip this down a little bit, maybe you can see. Whoop. You can see the little edge here, and you can see that the Reflectix is completely sealed along the edge here. The bees have glued it down. It was still pretty tacky. It's about 64 degrees today. If you pull it up when it's colder out, 40, 45 degrees, obviously the glue is probably hardened and it won't reseal, so the bees will have to reseal it themselves. But those are my reasons for using Reflectix. I also tend to I buy some extra, and in the wintertime I wrap my hives in this Reflectix, and it works really well for that. I wish it came in only 10-inch rolls too, because we've only got, our deeps are only 9 7/8 or 9 5/8. But you have to do some cutting on that to get a nice tight fit around your hives. But anyways, so I hope you found that useful, and the reasons why I use Reflectix. I think that if you gave it a try, this winter I am doing a lot of different things. Last year I had good return on single story hives over double deeps. Now this one's a double deep. The rest of my hives are all singles. My nukes are all doubles or triples. So I don't want them to get off the honey, and that's kind of the key. You don't want to get them off the honey. But I'm trying a lot of different styles for being able to winter my bees, and successfully. Just trying different things for what works, and dial it in a little bit more for myself, so I can not lose near as many hives. Number one, get your mites in order. It's a huge issue going into winter. Number two, make sure your hives are full of bees. If they're weak, don't even bother. Combine them with another one and get rid of that. Get rid of whatever queen is the weakest. Like I said, up to weight is the key. And then again, a little bit of insulation, proper venting. Those are some keys as well. Reducing their ability to get off the honey too big. I've gone to most of my hives now are they're 10 frame boxes, but I have a frame feeder in them, so I've reduced them down to 8 frames. So I'm trying to reduce the space in which they can get the cluster can get off the honey. But I'm getting off a little bit off topic. Hopefully we'll do another video here about how I winter my bees, how I'm wintering my bees, maybe some follow-up videos this winter. I'm not going down to Florida this year. I've decided to stop the commercial beekeeping business. I'm going to send them down to Florida, and then I'm going to call it quits for that. But anyways, I hope you got something out of this. Reflectix is the name. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. Like I said, 100-foot roll of 16-inch is about $51, and it costs you about $2 a lid, versus the wooden ones are, I don't know, $7-8 a lid plus shipping. So you're saving money there, and they don't stop robbing or anything like that. Now, one of the things you'll probably run into maybe is if you like to have upper vents somewhere. Maybe this isn't for you, but you can also put vent holes in your brood boxes as well. So until next time, happy beekeeping.